Lesson 6 is how to increase your NEAT. That's all we're going to talk about in this one, is increasing your NEAT. So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically, any calories that you burn that's not from planned exercise. This includes everything from fidgeting to standing and walking. So for example, on this table, you can see the amount of calories you burn per hour from different type of activities, from resting all the way up to walking 3 miles per hour. So that's why when someone says excuses don't burn calories, is actually not true, because sitting motionless burns about 80 calories per hour. Obviously it differs. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek on my part, but it differs based on the weight of a person, but you always burn calories. And you can see the big difference probably as well on this table in the amount of calories burned from sitting motionless at 80 to standing while fidgeting. It's nearly double the amount of calories burned. So as you can see, being even just a little bit more active can have a big effect on your daily calorie expenditure. And why NEAT is so important is because we are doing this every day. And we're doing this all day. Not just every day, but all day. Whereas exercise, we may exercise 1 hour a day. We are non-stop either standing or walking or sitting or fidgeting. So more daily activity equals a higher non-exercise activity thermogenesis and more calories burned. And this means two things. First, a higher NEAT means you need to eat more calories to maintain your body weight as your daily calorie expenditure has gone up. Secondly, it means you can create a calorie deficit without having to massively lower your calorie intake. You simply increase your calorie output, which is the amount of calories that you burn. So let's take a look at this chart again. In this example, the dotted line represents the amount of calories this person needs to maintain their body weight, about 2,000 calories, let's say a day, or 14,000 calories a week. So let's say they also eat 2,000 calories a day. This means that their calorie intake is matching their calorie expenditure, which, as we know from the calorie lesson, will result in their body weight staying pretty much the same. So to create a calorie deficit, we can lose body fat. We now have three main options. The first one is to decrease our calorie intake from around 2,000 a day to 1,500 a day. This creates a calorie deficit of 500 calories a day. That's 3,500 calories deficit over the course of a week. And as we also know from the calorie lesson, that equates to about 1 pound of body fat lost per week. The second option is to keep our food intake at the same level, so 2,000 calories a day, but increase our daily calorie expenditure by upping our NEAT. So let's say we do this and we burn an extra 500 calories a day. Again, we've created a 500 calorie deficit every day, which is a 3,500 calorie deficit over the course of a week and about 1 pound of fat lost, even though we still ate 2,000 calories a day. And the third option, the most recommended, is to use a combination of both. So decrease our calorie slightly and increase our calorie output a little bit too. This works as a happy medium for most people, and again, it can create that calorie deficit leading to fat loss. There often too much focus on how many calories you burn at the gym, which is actually 2 to 4 or maybe just 5 hours a week, but what are we doing to burn the calories during the other 160 plus hours a week that when we are not in a gym? And that's what I would like you to think of for a second. So that's something that most people need to think about as well, and that means making a bigger conscious effort to up your activity levels. This is where the idea of increasing your daily steps comes into play, And as we saw earlier, walking is a really easy way to up your NEAT levels. So to start off, just track your steps for a week and see where you're at. Most phones have the steps counter now, and you can also get the Apple Watch or Fitbit that track it as well. Then once you've got an idea of where you're at, we can aim to incrementally increase your daily steps to increase your calorie deficit without having to drastically lower your food intake. Because, as I mentioned earlier, the more calories we expand through NEAT, the more calories we can eat while dieting for fat loss. And that's always really useful for adherence and being able to stick to it. And because, eating more food is always easier than eating less food. So how you can do it is increase your daily step count. As I said, just start by just tracking to see where you're at. And then we can increase it in small increments, right? And the more you expand through NEAT, the more calories we can eat while dieting for fat loss. And the less we have to diet, so it doesn't feel as hard. So some ideas here at the end: walking to work, parking further away, walking on your breaks, and doing your meetings while standing and walking, and having active weekends.